Dio Green here from Red Diamond, and I hope you can hear me. I'm a block away from the beach and it is beautiful. Today, right behind me, we're going to do a 2011 Enclave, and the whole reason for this video is to show you how I use the VX5000. It is my steamer that I use on all the interiors, everything from removing stains, killing bacteria, removing odors, and also cleaning leather. This is a multi-purpose tool. It is safe for your interior and it gets the job done very well. It brings Red Diamond from the difference of being a car cleaner to a car detailer. I use it for everything. Engine details, door jambs, and you're going to see all of that. That's the whole purpose of this video. Today on this Enclave we are doing the Protection is Key package. So I'm going to show you how I hand wash, hand dry, everything that you've seen in the hands-on package, and we are also going to clay it and seal it. And we're going to put a synthetic sealant on here to protect the paint from the harsh Florida weather here. Not only do we have scalding dry heat, we also have sand blowing in the wind, salt, all of these harsh elements that just do nothing but tear down the protection of these vehicles. We are going to build layers and layers of protection so that this paint never gets damaged. You're actually shaving off really, really thin layers of the wax. That way, by the time we get ready to get to the point where it needs to be re-waxed, we strip the wax and apply new, so that if this was the paint, it's never getting hit. We're re-waxing, and every time it gets low, we put another layer of wax on, preventing your paint from ever being exposed to harsh Florida weather. So, and then on the inside, we're going to, of course, do all of the interior, where you're going to follow me around with the VX5000, and I'm going to show you exactly what this tool can do. So I guess before we should start, we should talk a little bit about the VX5000 and exactly what it is. It's a commercial vapor system. And what's so unique about it, and why it's such a huge help in my business, is because it's not too aggressive that it'll damage the interior of the vehicle, but it's not too weak to not kill the bacteria and the odors. It's that perfect medium ground. So not only do I use this in my vehicle, I use this in my home. I use it in my bathroom, my kitchen. It's just an overall amazing tool, and it gets the job done right the first time. So most of the time when I'm using this, and you've seen a lot of my videos do have this in there, whether I'm removing stains or cleaning the interior, you've seen this before. I figured I would just go in depth a little bit more about why I use it so often and why it's such a huge part of the difference between me and a lot of other detailers. When I'm using this, most of the time I'm using a single port nozzle, and what this allows me to do is it gets me in areas where my finger or my tools can't get in, such as the door hinges, where all of the hinges are, and the wires and things like that. And underneath the seats where the rails are, things like that. Areas that I pay particular attention to, that I clean with the vapor system. Also, I use it to remove stains. Now when I'm removing stains, whether I'm using the Diamond products or the Fanatic products, I'll first give the carpet a light spray with some kind of detergent, some kind of degreaser, to kind of help lift the stains off the carpet. The huge thing here is they're not heavy chemicals to where it's either going to leave your carpet really slippery, making it dangerous to drive, and it's also not going to leave any kind of heavy chemical smell afterwards. When you get into your vehicle, I don't want you to smell anything. I don't want you to smell Febreze, cherries, bananas, none of that. I like to get in my car, and especially when it's leather, I like to get in and just feel the supple leather and get just a hint of that leather smell, but nothing else. This is where the VX5000 comes in. I'm not covering up odors with another odor. I'm killing the odor. I'm killing the bacteria. So, when I'm removing stains, this is the single port, and this is the 3-hole port. I'll switch it to the 3-hole port, and I will put this triangle pad on, and then I will use a terry towel and wrap it around the terry towel. Now what this is going to do is it's not only going to kind of prevent the tool from being too aggressive on the carpet material, it's going to lift the dirt right up from out of the carpet, so you're not having to over scrub it. So we're doing essentially two jobs at the same time. This is how I get stains out, and it's the best way I've ever found of doing it. And of course, there are a lot of other ways, but I like to just stick with what I know, stick with what works, and stick with what's safe, and do it often. So that's kind of the overview. Of course, I have many other tools that kind of, many other accessories that I use with these little nozzles and things like that. But this is the overall job of this is to steam the entire vehicle, killing it of bacteria and odors and removing stains, and it does it very well. So it's to the point now where the water's getting ready to, the machine's getting ready to be primed. So let's go ahead and start tackling the interior. Alright, so just before I get ready to get to the cleaning of the vehicle, what I do is I go around the exterior with all the doors shut, and I kind of just give it a quick look around, kind of see if I notice anything out of the ordinary, and kind of adjust my methods of actually cleaning the vehicle before I actually touch it. The next thing I do, because I'm doing both the interior and the exterior, I'm going to do the interior first, because a lot of the times when I'm cleaning the interior, there will be things that blow outside of the vehicle, and it wouldn't really make sense to have a really nice crisp clean paint and then have dirt from the inside fly on it on the outside. So we're going to work from the inside out for that reason. So what I do is I open up all the doors and I do the same thing that I did with the exterior. I look around and make sure I don't see anything out of the ordinary. And another thing that I look for is if there's a lot of debris inside the vehicle. If there's a lot of debris, I'll do a really quick vacuum before I actually start steam cleaning, because it really doesn't make sense to steam clean and just blow debris from one area of the vehicle to the other. With this particular vehicle, it's actually not that bad, so I think we're going to go ahead and skip the first initial kind of vacuuming, and we're going to go ahead and steam clean the vehicle, and then we'll go with a really thorough vacuum cleaning. With this one, the customer actually removed most of her items from the vehicle. There's a few little things that I'm going to get out of my way, such as the floor mats and other personal items. Once I get those out of the way and I get the floor mats out of the car where they're safe, then it's going to get started for the steam cleaning. Alright, so here is the inside of the passenger door, and I'm going to try to get it to where I get a good camera angle to where you can see what I'm doing. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the entire perimeter of the door, including all of the rubber. I'm going to clean in between the rubber and the paint and steam clean all of this area to where it gets really, really clean, and then we're going to actually go over it with a wax. And people ask me all the time, why do you do that? Well, the only reason why I do it, first of all, is to give the towel a little bit of lubrication when I'm wiping the dirt away. Same reason why I'm using the steamer instead of just using a dry towel. I'm lubricating it to where the paint doesn't get scratched, because even though this is inside the door, I still consider it paint, because it is paint. So when you open up this door, and if there's a bunch of scratches on it, you'll still see it in the sunlight. So take care of it just like you would the outside of the vehicle. Another reason is to give it some protection. That way the next time that it gets really, really filthy, it's not really stuck on the paint, it's just on the wax, so that it would be easily removable the next time I come and clean the vehicle. So, here we go. The X5000, I'm just going to use steam and a little bit of water. I'm going to actually mix the two of them. And I'm going to go top to bottom. Getting all those little screws and all the little areas that my fingers wouldn't be able to. Now, I've got my microfiber cloth. These are red 300 pile microfiber towels. I find them to be the safest, you know, again, a perfect balance between soft and durable. And what I've done is I've actually wet it. And the reason why I've wet it is because when you wet it, it just seems to pull the dirt safely off of the vehicle easier instead of actually dragging it across the paint on the towel. So not only have I wetted it, I've also sprayed the wax that we're going to use. I'm basically just going to go again top to bottom in all of this area. And actually, the door lock right here actually had a bunch of stuff in there that I didn't realize until I was actually cleaning it. And the DX5000 actually cleaned it right out. There's also a lot of neatly folded pieces of metal, of course, where the body of the body was just built, that I couldn't have gotten in either without using this high-powered steamer. Door jambs are one of those things, if they're clean, nobody notices, but if they're dirty, they do. Now, I don't know if you can see that on camera because I'm facing the sun and it's really, really glared. I'm trying to see, there's not a chance. All this right here is just filth. And I'll show you exactly where I cleaned. So that right there is the door jamb now cleaned. So again, one of those things that nobody really notices that it's clean unless it's dirty. So I feel it's necessary to clean it every week. Makes the car look just that much better. So I'm going to continue around the entire door, and then we're going to go to the inner door jamb facing the interior. Okay, you can't see me again. I'm just at another really kind of interesting camera angle, but you'll understand what I'm talking about. So right here is the passenger door jamb, and this is really where the steamer comes into play because it's filthy, and I don't really have a tool that really can get in all of those spaces by hand. So here's what the steamer is going to do. Right, again, I don't know if you can see everything, but you'll see what I'm doing. I'm going to use a little bit more hot water on this, just because it's coated with some white stuff. I'm not for sure what it is. This will get rid of it. Again, I'm going to come in and just get as much as I can, kind of prevent it from getting all caked up like that. Oh yeah, that actually looks a lot better. Yeah, that's really bad. That is not bad looking. And just because this, is water, it's not going to do any harm to the vehicle if it's left behind. The only reason why I'm wiping this up is just to kind of get rid of some of this stuff that's on here so that it doesn't come back on. But I think that's pretty good, actually. Got a lot of that off. I don't know what it was. It was just a bunch of white stuff. I don't know if it's like the mysteries of detailing. Alright. That does not look too bad. I don't know if you can see it, the before and after, but you should be able to see a shine on it now, as opposed to when I started. So, another reason why I use a steamer, and another thing that I do to your vehicle every time I clean it, is the door jambs. Another thing that's kind of forgotten about, but still on my list of importance of things to take care of. So now you can see there's nothing coming off on my finger. Alright, so now this entire door jamb has been steam cleaned and protected. So we went, of course, I already kind of showed you how I did it in the door here, and as well as the door jamb where all the hinges are. The same kind of concept here. Between all the rubber, cleaning all around here, protecting it, and also right here in between the backseat door. Right in between here, there's a lot of area that's not usually covered. Just because it's not seen does not mean it does not need to be cleaned. It's the same kind of thing. So, all of this door is protected, and that is how I steam clean door jambs, to kind of loosen the dirt, give it a little bit of lubrication, as well as protect it. This comes with the wheel package. Alright, so before I fully move into the interior, another thing that I like to do, and I've already steamed it, is of course clean all the way up here between the seat belts, and again, I've already steamed it and I've already cleaned it, but just to show you right there. Also, this. Another thing that I've never seen anybody offer: when I clean an interior, I will clean the seat belts. And the reason why is because when this is grade W, over time this is going to collect a smell. Again, something that's just absolutely not an option with my weight. So, it doesn't take much because there's not too much bacteria that's going to stay on here, but just a quick steam cleaning. And you'll see black residue start to, especially on like such a bright interior like this, you'll see black residue that will start to build up on these seat belts because of just the people's hands. So I've steam cleaned it, and I'll pull it out, and to not only just to dry it, but to pull anything off of it that might be laying on the seat belt. And again, maybe I'll wipe this down because I hand touched it. Boom, there you go. And I'll wipe up the last of the little bit of steam that I left behind. And then, of course, I did all around the seat, all the controls that move the seat up and down, and all the plastics, kind of covering all the wires underneath the seat as well. I've wiped down and steamed. Next thing I'm going to show you is leather. Alright, so let's do kind of a hypothetical situation here. Now, in detailing, the one rule that really is the most important, because when detailing, there are literally millions of different ways to go about taking care of a car, cleaning it, such as that, you know. The one rule that really stands is that you should always go from the least aggressive way to the aggressive, okay? And the aggressive, obviously, stopping with the steamer, which in my mind isn't aggressive, but it's just the kind of extreme that you would go about. So when it comes to leather, is the same rule is kind of applied. So these leather sheets are very clean. This is actually not like genuine leather. This is what's called pleather. It's kind of an artificial leather, and right here you see all these many holes. It's because they can also be heated and cooled. So although it's pleather, it still can be cleaned. It's the same kind of way. And because these holes here, I'll kind of show you a trick that I use to kind of get if you do use the steamer, kind of just the remaining water out. It's just simply taking a vacuum hose, and I like to keep it off of the leather. I'll show you my vacuum nozzle. They're all sandpapered. There's no rough edges on it at all, and I sand it quite often just to make sure that if I do ever kind of touch leather, it's not going to cut it, because that would be bad. That's not good things. So just those preventative steps when taking care of a car with your tools will save you a lot of money in the long run. But so all of my nozzles for my vacuum sanded down, and I would just gently, I'd keep it above the leather if you can, but just gently kind of vacuum over it to get the remaining little bit of water out of the seat. Not that it would do any harm if it was there. You could even just blast the heat for 30 seconds out of the seats, and you're good. You're good to go. So, but let me show you what I do for doing this. So, first step in taking care of a leather seat, this is the least aggressive way, is to spray a little bit on the towel. Boom. If it's not clean yet, you could do this for pretty much these seats, because they're so clean. This car is only about a month old, so they're so clean that really I could just do a wipe down, and I would call that pretty much clean. But let's just say you have leather that's maybe not that clean yet. Go ahead and spray a little bit on there. Okay, let it sit for maybe a couple seconds, and then boom, wipe it off. You got that little bit of extra chemical to kind of break down some of that stuff, and that takes care of it. If not, here you go. Boom, spray a little bit on, and I'm going to use a little brush, which I'm actually going to spray just to kind of get it lubricated. And this is a little hand brush that I use all the time. And what this is going to do, and you just go in kind of circular motions, this is going to tickle the pores of the leather, and it's going to pull all that stuff up, and you'll see it in the suds here, the lather. You'll see it start to come up. Of course, this isn't really filthy, so it's not going to show you as much as like a really dirty one would. But this would be your second step, to kind of just go around like so. Keep going around. I'm going to go ahead and do this whole thing right here. And then wipe it off before it dries. Boom. Just like that. Now, of course, if that isn't clean, go to the steamer. And just like you would do stain removal, right? I talked to you about this before. I've got the 3-pronged nozzle on here. I've got the triangle pad, and I've got the terry cloth wrapped around the pad, so that when I steam the leather, and it's pulling, it's opening up the pores of the leather, allowing the dirt to rise to the top. The towel is grabbing it. With any kind of interior carpet, it's just kind of essentially the same carpet that you have in your home. When they dye it with whatever dye that they put in it, they will hot bath it, which opens up the fibers of the carpet. That way they can put the dye in, and then they cold bath it so that the fibers will close and keep that dye in it. It's the same thing with the steamer. What it's doing is it's opening up the pores, or opening up the piles, either one, whether you're working with leather or carpet, allowing the dirt to get out of the piles safely, and then, of course, when it's dried or when it cools off, they will close again. It's the same thing. So, with the leather, you would just take it. I would spray it a little bit, and take the steam. You can do steam and water. I'm just going to do steam. Do water for a little bit just to get the towel kind of wet, so it's not so coarse. And then make it go this way, and then this way. The different directions so that you get it on all 4 corners. And then again, you would end, wipe off. would steam all of the leather, just like I've done this section right here. After steaming it and knowing that there's nothing in here, there's no contaminants or anything like that, all the pores are open, and you'll be able to tell. I would then condition it. I would put a conditioner over it, and what that does is it's kind of the same thing as wax over paint. It protects it, it gives it that nice supple look, and it's good. It's good to go, and it'll last a lot longer. The thing with leather is, if it's shiny, it's not cleaned, and that's a big misconception to people who are not detailers. That shine, that's not good-looking leather. That's body oils, and leather is supposed to look not dull. It's not supposed to have a reflection though. So this right here doesn't have a reflection. None of it does. That gave me the key right there that it's really not that dirty, as well as obviously things that not on it. So smooth to the touch, and now it's protected. And so I'm going to do this to the rest of the seats. Welcome to the interior. When you get off work and you work an 8-hour, 10-hour day, it's amazing what kind of mood you can get by stepping into your vehicle. If it's dirty, it's almost like an irritated, kind of tense feeling. You can't relax, no matter what kind of music, or it just really doesn't matter. It's amazing what a clean car does, not only look-wise, it also kind of affects your mood. You get in and you can breathe, you can relax. It's kind of, I don't know, weird, right? It's the same kind of thing when I'm detailing a vehicle. I will notice that I'm almost bonding with a vehicle, like I almost have a certain connection to it, which makes me want to do my job even better. It makes my standards of what I would call a clean vehicle go higher, and which is great for you guys, but it's also good for me because it's like a pride. It's pride. So when I'm talking about getting in your vehicle and being able to relax, you can't do that when there's heavy odors. You can't do that when there's constant large amounts of bacteria and things like that. So the interior is something that I pay very, very close attention to, and it's something that I will drag this steamer across just about every square inch of the vehicle. So I'm here in the passenger seat, and everything that I'm looking at right now is going to get steam cleaned. It's going to get the pores of all the material cleaned out, and then we're going to come and apply a protection coating on it so that it doesn't catch the smells on it. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now keep in mind, obviously, I'm going to keep away from electronics. I'm not even going to get close to it. Matter of fact, when I use the steamer inside of the vehicle, I don't use water. I use pure steam. It's not really necessary because there's not a lot of heavy grease films on the interior like there is on the exterior. So it's going to be purely steam, of course, keeping away from electronics. But I am going to hit the dashboard, the glove box. I'm also going to show you how I condition leather, and especially like cup holders and things like that. Just about everything that you touch is going to get steamed, apart from a couple of things, and let me explain why. The actual grip of the steering wheel never gets touched, and I'll tell you why. The pedals, the brake pedal and the accelerator pedal never get touched. And when I mean touch, I mean they never get protected. They never have a chemical on them. And the reason why is because it's very dangerous if it's slippery and you go to drive. It's kind of simple. They do get wiped down with a dry towel. I do wipe them off with a dry towel. I have only came across one vehicle, and it was a woman's, where there was such heavy coatings of makeup that I actually had to steam the steering wheel. Most of the time, though, it is very clean. It's very easy to wipe down and just clean up, as long as the as well as the shift gear. There you go. I just don't like to put any kind of chemical on there. I feel like it's a hazard. It puts you in danger. So these are the things that I will steam, but I will not protect. I will not put any kind of slippery coating on them. So apart from that, everything else is ready to go. So let me point you down here and let me kind of show you what's going on right here. So, here we go. So I'm going to steam it, and then I'm going to come across, because it's going to have a little bit of lubrication on there. Of course, it's not going to scratch anything. I'm going to steam it, and then I'm going to apply a protective chemical on all of this around here. So, get this primed up. There we go. This is just breaking down all the oils from your arms when you're leaning against the armrest. I don't know if you can see it, but there's white residue on here that's actually the steamer pulling up. Let me get the chemical. Alright. There we go. Make sure that the body oil is wiped up. Yep, it looks pretty good, actually. Does not look too bad. Looks like I think I got it all. And of course, with leather, what'll happen is some parts of it are more dried out than others. So you just have to keep distributing the protection along it so that all of it is covered, like I'm doing right now. And now you can see that none of it is looks different. It all looks uniform. It's got the uniform kind of look to it, kind of texture. So I'll show you one more thing, and you'll pretty much get the idea of it, and then I'll go ahead and complete the rest of the car. Here's another dirty area that that often needs clean. I'll actually go ahead, lift this up. Everything's out of the way. Alright, so here we go. And this is all safe to steam. And really what I'm focusing on is all the cracks. All the cracks where food might get in. Everything like that. Everywhere where I feel that it's maybe unsafe to use the steamer, I'll just do by hand. Get some, 1 second, get some interior cleaner on this, and I'm just gonna go. And also, if there's a lot of debris in the interior, I will use air. I will use high pressure air to kind of clean the area out. This one's actually pretty good, so. Now, here we go. So I flipped the towel inside out. This is a dry towel. This is the dry spot. Doesn't have any chemical in there. Now I will wipe the gear shift down, just getting all the dust and things like that off. But again, very dry to the touch, not going to be dangerous. Not that this is a manual, but still should be treated just as one. And I'll go over this. I want to go over this maybe one more time. Make sure that this is really clean. Make sure that there's nothing that I might have missed. But that looks pretty clean to me. So, when it comes to the interior, it's the same kind of process no matter what I'm doing. Simply just steaming it and then coming back right after it and applying a protective coating on top of it. Alright, so I am completely finished with the interior. We went through how I steamed door hinges, how I steamed door jambs, how I went through steaming the plastic interior of the vehicle, how I went to cleaning the actual leather with the steam cleaner. The VX5000 is an amazing, amazing tool, and without it, I wouldn't have the key turn-on of Red Diamond. Red Diamond is all about smells and odors, getting rid of them and doing the extra stuff that people kind of nickel and dime you for, and I don't feel like that's right. I feel like when you get your car detailed, not just cleaned, detailed, there are a lot of other things that you should get other than just a quick vacuum in the interior. The interior is where the end of your day begins. It's where you get in your car and you can finally relax and just do the one thing that I love doing: drive. You just go. And for me, a dirty car in the interior with smells and odors and things like that lingering around, not as good of an experience. So, when you hire me, you get the full cleaning of a vehicle, not just a vacuum. This is Dio Green from Red Diamond. I'll see you in the field.